Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. It's midday after a Spurs game in the UK, and it's time for Ange management, and it's time for the return of a rather dark and suntanned Jonny. Welcome back, my partner in crime for the show. How are you?
I'm okay. Jet lagged. I wasn't sure whether I watched the same game because I was, as I said, jet lagged watching the Spurs Newcastle game, but I did watch it back and it did actually happen. Yeah, it did actually happen. It wasn't a figment of my imagination. I
No,
wish
I
it
mean,
was.
well, put it this way, it was better than the previous two games.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
has to be said. But right, before we go into it, let's just hello to the people that have already come into the building. Matthew Krishna, big up to you. Chris Agambar, big up to you. Channel member Andrew Gregory, big up to you. Matheson Edwards, big up to you. Darren Johnson, big up to you. Colin Crossamano, big up to you. Tweaky, big up to you. Richest Man, big up to you. Vineet, big up to you. Active on Wembley, big up to you. Max Lyon, big up to you. Phil P, who missed the game because he was in Cyprus, but just got back. So we're going to fill you in, buddy. Peter, all the way in Australia, good evening to you. Chris Spurs, and that's where we are. So just to go through the show, just to remind you again, Jonny, how this show goes, because you've had a long break now. We will deal with the negatives, and there are some. We will deal with the positives. Again, there is some. We will talk about special mentions if players deserve it. And then we will talk about the man himself, the man whose show this who is named the show is named after. And as I said, people have got to remember this is about Spurs, Newcastle, and nothing else. Nothing else, not games before, games coming. This is all about Spurs' 2-1 defeat to Newcastle. So, Jonny, your first negative.
Well, listen, I just want to say, just to add to what Brian was saying, I think people misconstrue sometimes what we say here, right? So, for example, when we're saying something about a player in a game, it is related to that, okay? We don't have agendas. Well, we might have personal likes and dislikes. That's true. I think everybody has as a Spurs fan. But we all want the best for the club. And these comments are based on this game and some of the which are sort of eat, sleep, repeat, which we're doing a lot of at the moment. My son, just to follow up as a negative, my son said to me, "Dad, what do you think the score will be tomorrow?" And today, and I said, "It will be 2-1 to Newcastle." And he said, "Oh, I can't believe 2-1 to Newcastle. You're not a fan. You're a disgrace." I said, "Would you want to know why?" And I sort of said, we've got no strikers. All three strikers are out. How very Spursy. So I figured we could be blunt up front. And then when you look at the back with no Mickey van der Ven and a high line, with Newcastle playing with three speedy merchants with Itzhak, Barnes and Gordon, we could have a problem. As it turned out, though, Brian, we did play very well in patch. We did play very well and we dominated the game in large patches. But it's about winning a game of football, and we didn't do it, right? And you can't keep going on about, oh, well, we missed the chances. It's football. It's about putting the ball in the back of the net. And Leicester, we had a striker in Dominic Solanke. We had 60 touches inside the box, more than any club in any game this season. 60 touches in the box. And we struggled. And we struggled massively again yesterday. But overall, I feel like most Spurs fans were watching that game yesterday, knowing exactly what was coming. When we were missing those goals and those chances and we were misfiring, I think most of us knew what was coming at some point in time, because we don't have that concentration in defence. Or what are you thinking, Brian?
Well, you're right. I mean, injuries haven't helped as normal, but that happens to every team. But it just so happens, Ange Postecoglou said we're physically stronger, we're better and ready to take on the new season. Within 3 games, we've lost all our strikers and our most influential defender on the way we play football. Listen, Ryan was at the game. There's a lot of people we knew that were at the game, and they all said, you know what, we actually played very, very well in large patches of the game. We just couldn't put the ball in the back of the net, whether it was lack of creation, there was no shot, whatever it was. The first negative for me is this high line. You can't do it without Van der Ven. You physically cannot do it without Van der Ven. And like you said, we have a defence that you would think could handle everything. And it's just the basic concentration, isn't it? It's just one switch off, one ball, one pass. They're in. They're in. And I don't know if it's... You look at the second goal, and Romero is the one player that's running forwards, playing offside. And Porro, Dragusin, and Destiny are all running backwards. If they'd just done what Romero was doing, we would have been in. They would have been offside. It would have been sorted. This high line defence is becoming an issue in most games, isn't it?
Well, this is what happens when you don't have half your squad there preparing for the season, pre-season. Okay, they're on different planets. Okay, and it's not just the defence. I mean, yes, the defence is an issue, but there is no continuity. There is no telepathic reading between players in the front line. The passes that were going, no one was reading anyone's runs. You know, we'll get into individuals in a minute, but everyone seemed to be working independently. Yes, they were passing the ball to players, but, you know, pick your head up, read the scene. Peripheries, footballers are meant to have great periphery vision. So you don't have to be standing there holding the ball for 5 minutes, looking for the pass. You should be able to see it before you've received the ball. You've scanned the area and tried to release the players, but I don't think we did any of that. There's no understanding up front. The interplay. I mean, watch Arsenal, watch Liverpool, watch a lot of these top teams play. They can play these balls blind almost. The interpassing, and the same at the back. You know, the misreading of the game. But a lot of that is to do with Ange as well, because look, Ange encourages players, no matter if you're in defence, centre back, wing back, whatever, push forward into space if you see it, which is how we ended up losing that first goal when Romero charged forward, pressing on his own, like the only person. He's pressing from centre back position and no one in the forward positions are pressing, you know? It just, honestly, I don't get it. And the refusing to tinker with your tactics, despite the opposition, by who you're playing, and the team that you're playing, should I say. So for yesterday, why does it take me, who's a low-life kid coach, is that's what I did, right, can spot straight away we have an issue. If we're going to play a high line with no Mickey van der Ven, I like Dragusin, right?
Yep.
But you're going to expose this defence, drop down 10 yards, drop 10 yards further back, right? Give Vicario a chance that he can play as a sweeper keeper and come out and win the ball, should they break the line. It's eat, sleep, repeat, I'm afraid. And I've got to be honest with you, Brian, I'm going to read you these because, right, with the... here we go. Okay, where are we? Okay, so excuse me while I read through these, because facts are facts, right? Spurs have lost 4 of the last 6 away games in the league, won 1 and drawn 1. Compare that to the first 15 games away, winning 6, losing 6, and 3 wins, 2 wins out of the last 11. We've got 2 wins out of the last 11 away games. Since the 28th of December, away from home, we've played 12, won 2, drawn 4, lost 6. We've only had 2 clean sheets, and we've conceded 2 or more goals in the last 8 of those games. 15 points we've got in our last 12 games and only beaten 1 top 10 side And that was on December the 10th, Aston Villa away, 4-0, who had 10 men. Spurs have only won 5 of our last 14 league games. All 5 of those wins were against teams at the bottom of the league. Everton, Sheffield United, Burnley and Forest. That form from our last 32 games would have placed us 9th currently. We've only had 2 clean sheets in the last 15 games, those being against relegated Sheffield United and Everton. Spurs have had the most touches in the box this season. 60, I said, against Leicester, and I think 49 against Newcastle yesterday, and yet we couldn't score. And one other stat which I found, which was Jonny Baines on X, who posted this, was quite interesting. Premier League goals conceded per game as a Spurs manager, minimum 38 games. Glenn Hoddle, 1.58 goals per game. Postecoglou, 1.57 goals. Clements and Livermore, 1.57. Even Ozzy Ardiles, 1.54. And then just a couple of others to throw in. Harry Redknapp, 1.12. And Pochettino, 1.02. So I know stats are only a proportion of the big picture, but what you see visually and you mix that together with those stats, they're alarming reading, Brian. There's no getting away from it.
They are. Before we carry on, if there's an echo where I am, I apologise. I'm actually at a friend's house and I'm trying to keep quiet in their kitchen because everyone's asleep at 7 a.m. I'm not at Dagul Towers, but we got a couple of super chats came in very quickly. First of all, for you, Jonny, from a user, welcome back, Jonny.
Nice to be back. Good to be back.
I'll pick up here. Listen, I think this is the glaring issue, and this is. Listen, I think we all want Ange to succeed, and I know right now there are a hell of a lot of doubters, and he's not helping himself. Ange Postecoglou isn't helping himself because you cannot play this game. We saw it with Fulham. We saw it with Fulham last year. After Aston Villa, we got destroyed because we tried to play a game as if Mickey van der Ven was there. You don't have Mickey van der Ven there. You have to adapt to your surroundings. You have to adapt to what's there and play to the team, the players that you have your strengths. Mickey van der Ven is like no other defender in England, probably like no other defender in the world. You can't match what he's got when he's out, just like you can't match what Harry Kane's got when he's out.
Really a system, Brian? I'm asking you, is that really a system? Is there really a system that if you take one component out of that system, the whole house of cards breaks down? I'm sorry, if this was a business and you were saying, right, if I take Jonny out of this production line, my production line falls to pieces, they would say, right, well, we got to have a backup. We've got to have a backup plan, or we got to have a plan B. And, not wishing to rain on his parade, but we don't have it. And he keeps saying the same thing over and over again, where he talks about, we should have buried our chances. We should have taken our chances. Read back, go look at all of the press conferences, see how many times he wants to talk about his defensive mistakes. I don't hear him talk about them.
Yep, and Joe, what Zookeeper brings one up. Dragusin played okay.
Yeah.
Romero is switching off. He is switching off at times. There's no getting away from it. But like I said, you look at it for the second goal, he's the one doing the right thing and going forward. And yet there's no cohesion. There's no understanding. And you know what started to get to me? When we were on top, when we equalised, all the Newcastle St James's Park had to do is get a little bit louder, and we started making sloppy mistakes. There's just, we fall apart very, very easily, don't we?
We do. And I'm going to come across as really, really negative on this. I don't like mixed messages. Say what you mean, what you say, and do what you mean, right? He talked glowingly about Bergvall and Archie Gray. Okay, how they're amazing, how they're shocking everyone in training. Yesterday, what did we see? Archie Gray didn't get 1 minute. and Bergvall got 10 minutes. We saw in that game, right, when they brought on Tonali and Hall, okay, Howe could clearly see that our midfield was starting to go. Basuma was on a yellow. Maddison was on a yellow, right? They were getting tired. Kulu was tired and making terrible mistakes. And yet he did nothing. Tonali and Hall came on. They changed the game. He didn't react. And what did he do? He brought on the players too late after, in my opinion. We lost the momentum of that game. It's about reacting and seeing it. Now, for me, if you'd have brought on Archie Gray and Bergvall, I know you would like to have seen Alfie Devine yesterday. You must have been really excited when you saw Alfie on the bench.
I was.
But it's just pure decoration for Ange. Lip service decoration, right? That's all he's doing at the moment, is lip service. Because Archie Gray, if you watch him in the games at Leeds and the game against Chelsea in the Cup last season, when he gets hold of the ball, he's capable of dominating that midfield. And we had lost that midfield. Basuma, he might have started well. He was losing it. He was making terrible challenges, right, after he got the yellow. Maddison was running around like a headless chicken at that stage. Do something about it. If it's no point buying a £40 million player and leaving him on the bench. Oh, he's not ready. Well, if he's not ready, don't spend £40 million on him.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more. I mean, I've just seen one comment, and I will say right here, right now, if this happens,
oh, God,
if this happens, you will see me back home quicker than you think, and I will be frontline again for people that have doubted me or thought that I've gone soft on Levy. If this happens, you'll see me outside the training ground and outside a Spurs shop sooner than you bloody well think.
There will be a riot. There'll be one thing though, Brian. The club fans will be united. I'd rather see Gareth Foster's than Gareth Southgate.
Yeah,
if there is a Gareth Foster's, I'm sure he could do a better job. I'm not interested in him. It's laughable.
Yeah,
Slot was the man. Slot was the man.
It's got to, I'm going to bring it up now because I've seen some people talking about it. I didn't know whether to put it in a positive or a negative, so we're kind of cross over with him because this will be a shorter version because Jonny is very, very jet lagged, and
Could I just quickly say here, right, to the people that are tuning in, no doubt there'll be messages. I can't watch you two. You're so bloody negative. Read the thing there. See where it says negative, right? Okay. Just there's a hint of what is going on right now, because that's what normally happens. Somebody pops in and says, I can't listen to this negativity. Okay. The positivity will come. If we can find it, I think I might have something I can say.
Well, listen, we've gone all, and Stel says it when he says fake positivity. We've got all the way from fake negativity to fake positivity. And unless you're here and go, everything's good, you're wrong.
Yeah.
Within this fan base at the moment. And however people want to support the team, we don't. We're not here to tell you how to support the team, but I've seen a lot of people talking about Brennan Johnson, and I am going to talk about Brennan Johnson because again he's coming for a lot of negativity yesterday and today, or yesterday's performance. I don't think he deserves it. I think it's people, and I'm going to tell you why as well. First of all, he came on, and for that first part, Newcastle were on the ropes. The second part, he had to be alert for Pope's mistake, which he did. It wasn't the cleanest connection, but it was there. And there's a lot of people saying the crosses that he got into the box, he doesn't look up, he doesn't look up. Not every winger has to. What he did with some of those balls was put them in the area where the centre forward should be. You look at some of them that went straight across the 6-yard box. That's where a striker, whether we had Solanke or Richarlison or not, if you're playing up front for Tottenham Hotspur, you make a beeline into that 6-yard box.
Especially Solanke. Yeah, especially them.
The winger's getting in there and putting the cross. Was he phenomenal? Was he sensational? No, he wasn't. But people are having a go at him for putting crosses in the 6-yard box. That's exactly what he's there to do. It's exactly what he's there to do. And there should be. It doesn't matter who you play for. You're a striker. You're making sure that 6-yard box. You're making a dart just in case the ball was there. And of course, Sonny or Odegaard or Timo going in at the back post, they're nowhere. They were absolutely nowhere. So
I
people
did
know
say
I stand by. Sorry,
so I was
Johnny?
just gonna, I did say to you when we signed him, before he kicked a ball for Spurs, that I was told by football people, like, I mean,
Yep.
not fans, football people,
Yep.
that he does not have a very good football IQ, right? And I got into a lot of trouble in the first early stages of Ange management. If you remember last season, I remember Brian was Cross was a big advocate of him because being Welsh and everything. I can understand that, but even he can see now. And like, it's not me hoping he fails, because I hope every player becomes a success at the club and proves you wrong. But I would say that, yes, putting the balls in the box, but there are moments where you go to the byline and pull it back. There are moments where, be aware that there's no one in the box for that moment and don't just aimlessly cross it. But he was the brighter spark for me, calling him when he has a bad game, as right from the beginning. I called him Brenda Johnson, because he wasn't hard enough in the tackle and all the rest of it. But fair dues, he shouldn't be, in my opinion, the one that's named as the culprit in us not winning yesterday. I think overall there was no link play, there was no understanding. I mean, no more so than in the last 15 minutes near the end of the game when Kulu broke free, and he had Johnson free on that right hand side. And what did he do? He just passed it into the middle of the park and the same with Sonny. Sonny was free, okay, and Maddison, he broke down. Maddison was making a run on the left-hand side. Johnson was making a run on the right-hand side, and he screwed up. The decisions in that final third were very, very poor. Yes, we should have won, but you can't blame Brennan Johnson solely for yesterday's performance that we didn't score.
You can't. And like I said, Stell's even said he did nothing. Listen, Stell, back in the day, you whip the ball in like that, whether it be Bow, whether it be what, strikers are making a bust in the gut to get in there, whether it be a Harry Kane, whether it be a Gary Lineker, those balls that he was putting in, strikers thrive on them. Strikers thrive on them. Now, if you go back and look at those crosses, not one of our forward players are busting the gut to get in there. Is that Brennan Johnson's fault, or is that the on-rushing players? Like Matty said as well, we saw all season in pre-season training, what they were doing is crossing that low cross across the 6-yard box and strikers coming in. Well, we did it during the game, and because we didn't have a recognised striker, no one was there. Brennan Johnson. Go on, Johnny.
I was just going to say, right, I don't like having one way of playing football. I'm sorry.
Correct.
Right? There's something called intuition in football. Playing your natural game. Express yourself. Okay? So if you feel that moment deserves the chip into the box or a high ball, then play that. But this insistence on playing this low cross every single time, okay, for like Kygo at Celtic running in to the near post and flicking the ball in, which was his signature at Celtic. And Solanke, that's why he's gone in with Solanke. But, look, we've spent nearly £80 million on two wingers that Ange has demanded in Odegaard and Johnson. And I've got to be honest with you, I don't see a £47 million player. I never have. He was never on my list. I still hope he turns it round, but we need to mix it up. And I think we're looking for a scapegoat for yesterday's defeat. But I think that Ange has to take some responsibility for the setup and how we approach the game. Personally, it does not look like, we do not look like a team that has been practicing for months on end or weeks on end. In that final third, 60 touches in the box against Leicester, we looked like we couldn't do anything with the ball. It was like we were in panic mode. And I don't know. I think, if you gave most clubs 49 touches inside the box and 60 touches inside the box. The results, most times, 9 times out of 10, would be a massive win for that team. Yet we can't seem at the moment to do it. And look, if we try and think positively on this, we're only 3 games in. Correct. We have played well. You know, we have played well. There are elements of the game which we played well. We dominated Leicester, we dominated Everton, and we dominated Newcastle in that. But that, when you look back in a year's time at the results, it means nothing. It means nothing. It's only about winning the game or getting points.
Well, I said when I went on We Are Tottenham TV yesterday, we don't shoot anymore. We just have to keep. We have so many touches in the box because we do what Arsene Wenger did with Arsenal and try to pass it in. And before we go into the positives, Hughie does raise a good point with Brennan Johnson. They're not making the runs maybe because they're worried about the delivery. But I will also say, if you watch that game, I saw this with Son as well. When it was 1-1, Sonny had the ball, we were running in. Johnson was wide open. Wide open. And he took the shot on. And I've criticised Sonny before for shooting when he should pass and pass when he should shoot. But that's the whole team at the moment. And there was a perfect chance to put Johnson in. And I think he shot because of this exact reason. Which something's got to change. Something has got to change when it comes out. But let's now try and find some positives, Johnny. Do you find any?
Hang on a minute. Let me just give me half an hour. We're only 3 games in. Yep. Okay. Look, those stats that I reeled off before are pretty damning. Okay. You know, we've only beaten one top 10 team since the end of December. You know, you can't hide under a rock and pretend that everything's all right. But there are signs that there's fluidity. Look, I can't judge. I will not judge this and condemn him until I see Solanke and Mickey back playing the team. But are we to assume, and I'm trying to be positive here, are we really to assume if you take Solanke out and you take out Mickey van der Ven, we don't have a team? And if that's the case, I'm sorry, right? You screwed up. You know, the management screwed up, the recruitment screwed up, and that's it in a nutshell. Because you know, if you are a serious club and you know you have a weakness in a position, you go out and you spend big on that position. Yep. You know, like they did with Rice and like other clubs have done, like Liverpool did with Van Dijk or the goalkeeper. You know, a game changer. You know, someone who was going to massively change the trajectory of your club. And I don't feel like we're doing that. You know, we've reduced our wage bill. Who gives a shit? As a Spurs fan, I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn about the wage bill going down. I ain't paying it. You're not paying it. Okay? I hope our wage bill is 95% of our income, right? Yep. You know, we want to see the best of the best. And we are being fed a story of now, you know, that old adage, you win nothing with kids. I'm not a great believer that you win nothing with kids if you have experience with it. And when I looked on that pitch yesterday, I didn't see, someone else can tell me that, I didn't see any leaders in there. When that goal went in, when that goal went in, the heads dropped and I just didn't see any belief, true belief that we were going to get that goal back. Sorry, that was meant to be a positive, right?
Yeah, it was. Listen, it runs into. Listen, I think the thing is, there were positives, mainly how we did control parts of the game. But yes. Like for works, as I said, it means nothing. As Tom says, well, it means nothing if you don't win it. It means absolutely nothing. There's no points for you played well. and you were the better
Jolly
team.
good
So we'll give
show,
you
boys. Jolly good.
exactly. But this is the thing: we've got to look at it, and I'm going to save what I was about to say because I will go on a mad tangent until we get to Ange, because it's not fair. I just think, listen, we did play well in patches. Certainly, huge improvement on the last two games. The way it started, I was dreading another. Here we go. Just don't spank us. Well, I literally went into this game yesterday,
Yeah.
and like when I went to my first North London derby at the Emirates last season, always put in a performance. Don't get tonked. Whatever you do, don't get tonked. And we played brilliant in a 2-2 draw. I went into this game and said, just don't get tonked, which is a sad thing as a Spurs fan. But we didn't get tonked, so I'm going to take that as a positive. But before we go on to, I don't even know if there are special mentions.
Well done, Brian. I was scurrying around trying to think of positives on yesterday. But listen, as you said, right, we did play very well in patches. We did control the game in large swathes like we did against Leicester, but it's meaningless.
Exactly. Let's just do with this super chat from Benny. The big boys are yet to come. Newcastle has dropped off from the team 2 years back. Villa, West Ham, Chelsea, United have all upgraded, and talent ideas shit. The team after all these signers is stagnant. It's right, isn't it? Jonny, is Jonny frozen? There you are.
So is he saying then that, like I have mentioned, right? Dare I mention it again? That Ange could be our Steve Hitchen.
Don't
because
listen. I think,
I know some of the players. I know some of the players that he's been offered that he's turned down, right? And I found that alarming.
Oh, good,
okay?
Good. That's just what we wanted to hear. That's what. But this is the thing. Right here, right now, it's his team.
Correct.
Whether there are injuries or not, there's 3 windows. This is his team.
There's
I mean, we've heard the people.
Yeah.
We hear the people go, "Oh, it all can't be done in one window." Well, this is third. It's third, and there's still glaring misses in areas. As Benit said, obviously we know what game is next. There couldn't be a game you could probably want worse than this one right here, right now. Do you know what? I think I'd rather Chelsea away than Arsenal at home right now, because obviously this could get very, very ugly very, very quickly within the fan base, very, very quickly. And if this doesn't work out next week, in 2 weeks, I mean, if we hear Mickey van der Ven's out and Solanke's still out, there could be big issues. But we're going to move, because I said this will be a shorter version than normal. Jonny, is there anyone you want to give a special mention to?
Listen, I thought Dragutin did very well in moments there. He's a young defender. He's patch meal appearances, brought in and then just made to sit on the bench. And let's be honest, if it hadn't been for massive injuries, you probably spent the whole of January to the summer sat on the bench, because that's what Ange does. I don't understand it. If you want the bloody guy, play him. Or did you not want him? I thought he did very well yesterday in moments. There was a couple of challenges he put in which were very good. I thought we were better defensively because of him. Like in an aerial, he commands his ball. He's a really good header of the ball, although he did have a free header, which he should have done with in an attacking sense. But I really like him. I think he's physical. There was a couple of moments with him and Joel Linton came together, and he's a massive unit. And he was given as good as he got, although he did end up on the floor. I actually think there's a really good player in there. And those, again, saying he didn't have a good game and he's a right centre back. Okay, it's not his fault that this stupid club, having needed a bloody left centre back and a left back, backup left back for over a year. We were having this conversation a year ago, and the guy had to be drafted in and put a square peg in a round hole, right? Okay, top clubs clubs who want to go somewhere don't have square pegs to go in round holes unless there's a massive injury crisis. We don't need an injury crisis. We just need one injury, and we're in deep shit. So I thought he did very well. Yes, he should have pushed out for that second goal. But on the whole, I thought he was a positive yesterday watching him.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to say one that I literally have been very critical of because of his off-field behaviour. I think Bissouma, and it's starting to show. He's got a long way to go, but he looked comfortable. For me, he looked better than comfortable. He looked like the old Bissouma's trying to break out, and if we can get him back to where he was, then we've got a hell of a player. But like you said, going back to Dragusin, it's literally, or this club, you look at it when it comes to how long it takes to identify a problem and solve it. I think Vicario is the only one we've done in one window. Lloris is going, let's bring in a goalkeeper, bang. The rest of them takes about 4 or 5 windows. So we should have a left back or left centre back round about before the World Cup. Before the World Cup, just to solve that. Do you know what? Let's get onto the mate. Let's get onto the.
Hang on 1 second.
Go on. You got another one,
Brad?
Yeah, I'm here.
Brad? Yeah, I was just going to say you were pixelating. I want to mention Vicario.
Cool.
I thought he was very poor yesterday. He made a good save. He did make one good save down to his right-hand side in the second half. But other than that, he's still got to come. He's got to command his area. There were moments there when the ball's coming in. He looks nervous and he's ball playing. Listen, I'm a big fan of Vicario's, but his distribution yesterday, there just seemed a nervousness. Make yourself available for the ball. And he was giving that ball away. There were moments there. I mean, there was one where we got the ball and Son was so weak, tried to play out from the back and lost the ball, and that could have caused us a goal. He needs to be more commanding in that goal. You can't have it all. He's a great shot stopper, but his physicality and his distribution at the moment, he needs to really work on it. And God help us if he gets injured, because we got the tree as backup, and Foster's still falling when the ball's in the back of the net and they're running towards the halfway line. He's still falling. So, that's a worrying sign. But I thought he wasn't great yesterday. I mean, Pope made more mistakes, but I thought that all the mistakes that were apparent last season with him coming for crosses and his distribution, he would have worked tirelessly over the break and the summer break and in pre-season on improving that aspect of his game. But I haven't seen much of it. I think defensively protecting Vicario looks better. But I don't see him as really worked enough on the weak aspect of his game.
So I will go into Vicario in 1 second, but Matty, if you go onto YouTube, literally next to where it says subscribe, if you go onto our YouTube channel on a computer, laptop, whatever, next to where it says subscribe, it will say join. You can push join and it will give you the options to become a member. And thank you for your incredible support. Vicario did a few things yesterday that concerned me, actually. First of all, his passing, like I said, that kept going out for throw-ins.
Yeah.
I think he loses concentration. There was the other time where he was trying to get the ball up and he almost ran the ball out of the area and he had to stop. And then the other one, did you see right near the end of the game where he just started running out of his goal for no reason? And he was in line with the defence. And I thought, are we playing FIFA? I thought, is he literally going on a run? He just ended up...
It's the glitch in FIFA where your goalkeeper, for no apparent reason, the pitch.
He ended up 35 yards out of goal. And I was like, what are you doing? It really did look like FIFA. But we got another super chat in. Let me just bring that up from Vinny. And it's just auditioning for future jobs. We live in times where guys get the buying job by sticking to a style no matter what, even if it's a good way of looking at it, isn't it? Obviously, a certain Vincent company has gone to Bayern, is what he's alluding to. We're going to talk Ange now. We're talk Ange now. So,
Brian?
Sorry?
No more players? No more
Oh,
special
not that
mention?
I can think of. Not that I can think of. Let's just get into the main edition.
Romero was poor.
Yeah,
Romero
I mean,
one of his
if
poorest
we were
games.
to do poor players, we'd be here all day. You've got jet lag. I'm at a friend's.
Okay.
We can go into this after Arsenal, whatever the game. Then I'll be at home. We can go into
Kulu. Can you explain to me, Brian? Already one out there. Why Kulu was still on that pitch with 15 minutes to go? The guy was huffing and puffing. He couldn't do anything. His passes got worse and worse and worse. And yet, Ange, I don't know what he was watching. You know, you got a young kid on there on that pitch. And Archie Gray is yes, he can play right back. Yes, he can play six, but the kid can play anywhere. He can play as a progressive player as well. You know, we should have had those fresh legs on. How he was still on. And after that pass for Brennan Johnson, about 5-10 minutes from the end. Oh, my God, that should have been fine. Get him off. Go on.
Before you go on to Ange, I'm going to let you go first with Ange. Beyond 72, big up, my brother. We can defend Ange and say with better players, we win comfortably, but that's the problem. That's football. With better players, you win.
But then he's played
we can only play with the players we had. Like when people are going brilliant, oh, we smashed Everton, we did blah blah blah. We should have beaten Everton. We had the better players. We played them off the park. Everton are poor. We can't go into Newcastle and have an injury set team in key areas. I think we're going to. Obviously, we would have won with better players, but we haven't been given them. We haven't got them. Jonny, you start with Ange.
It is what it is, mate. If I just look at the floor, I think he's got cleaning issues, right? Because he's always looking at the floor. I think he's always looking for dirt. I'm not sure. Does he say to the interviewer afterwards, I can't work like this. All I can see is a dirty floor. A dirty floor. Stop asking me questions. I just see dirty floors. I can't understand a manager that has one system and tells us it is what it is. I will not tweak my system for who we play. I will not tweak my system when we have injuries. I hope that, when he gets Solanke and Richie and Lancashire back and Mickey's there, that we see the team playing and winning games. I don't want him to fail. I want him to succeed. I was going to be really interested to see yesterday, and I was praying that Lancashire was fit yesterday, because I wanted to see how much do you really believe in our youth? Because I've watched, like a few of the people in our group, Brian, who've gone to a lot of the under-18 and a lot of the under-21 games last season. Wilt Lancashire is built like a brick shit house. He's built like an Olympic butterfly swimmer. Broad shoulders. He's got a fantastic finish. 32 goals last season. I think that he could have done a job for us. I don't care if he's 19 years of age. I don't think Ange would have played him. I think he still would have played with the false nine. And it's just lip service. But this is his team now. I'm not going to listen to the fact. Oh, yes, but he hasn't got the players he wants. He has. He wanted Brendan Johnson. He wanted James Maddison. He wanted Odebear. He's got a lot of the players. I don't know. You can't have one system. You can't. You just cannot. Is it really that naive? I maybe like quite a few people, fans, thought he's just saying this, that he's only got one system. But the reality is he is going to change it for certain games. He's just saying that as a front. But I don't see it. Yes, there are minor tweaks here and there. I mean, last season, towards the end of the season, when Mickey van der Ven was injured and he played Oliver Skipp at left back, he played Emerson at left back, but he refused to play Mickey van der Ven at left back and bring in Dragusin. I don't understand that. And then when he did, lo and behold, what happened? We look like a better team. For me, this team is crying out for three at the back, because we have Dragusin, Mickey van der Ven, and Romero, who all are progressive centre backs. They like to bring the ball out. They can all defend, but the cover between them, rotating, is far better. And for me, that gives us a better balance between attack and defence. I don't think we'll be more blunt by taking one player out and putting those three at the back. I really don't. He obviously does, and I think he's going to die on this sword. I hope I'm wrong, but I think he's going to die on this sword of refusing to change, and it could be his downfall. I hope I'm wrong. I really do, because I hope, that we're doing this show in December. He's still here, and, he really is, we're absolutely smashing it. I really do, Brian, because we all want it.
We've got hope, but the only problem, I think, about three is what is needed and what we can get the best out of this team. But then we're one injury away from going back to a back four, because there's no decent cover. So we got. Listen, the main point I want to make, first of all, Jonny, who's been a member for 8 months, great supporter of the channel and great friend. Our set pieces were poor again. One of Ange's biggest mistakes was not keeping Gianni Vio. Welcome back, Jonny. Great to have you back. Yeah, I mean, listen, he didn't want a set piece coach. He still doesn't want a set piece coach. This is Ange, but I've got a sneaky feeling that in the next couple of games, if they're not good results, not saying there's going to be a full-on Conte meltdown, but I think Ange might be for turning. Ange might start getting a bit cryptic, because I can't see. I said it at the end of the window. I can't see him being happy with this. We've all seen the change in him from, we're going to win the league, we're going to attempt to win the league, or not, we're going to win the league, we're going to attempt to win the league, we're going to do this, everything's going to change. I want to forward, I want to rejuvenate.
I was winning my second season, Brian.
Do you know what, honestly? That is the biggest curse. That was Jose. He's got to realise we're about to have a hat trick of managers that come to this football club, having won everywhere they went, to, if he was to leave without, this would be a hat trick. I've got a feeling Ange is going to lose his patience soon. I don't want him to, or I do want him to call that bastard out, but I don't think all is rosy. He's with Arsenal coming up, the filth. If this could go very, very well, or worse than he could ever imagine, because I've got a feeling that stadium will turn if it's a heavy defeat. And I will tell you one thing with this, and I'm going to call it now. Should we lose to the filth, we've then got Coventry in the Carabao Cup, and after that, it's meant to be the fans forum with the man up top. If those two results aren't positive, you watch, all of a sudden someone's sick or someone's ill, and that fans forum will be cancelled for some reason.
It'll be a Zoom call. It will be a Zoom call.
It's getting to the point now. You look at it. I've tried to be positive, and I'm going to remain the way I am. I'm going to try. I'm going to stay balanced, and if I need to go nuts in directions, believe me, I will go nuts. But you look at this window, and yes, the players I welcome Gray, I welcome Bergvall, although you can't really count Bergvall.
Oh, good players.
Yeah, but again, it's always in 2-3 years. In 2-3 years, can't you see what's building? I've been a Tottenham fan for the best part of 45 years. We're always building. Do you know what, Jonny? You'll understand this term. Watching NFL and everything.
Yeah,
I said this on the fan. I got speaking to a guy who's part of Seattle Spurs, and he said in North American sports we have a term where it's rebuilding or reloading. And he said Tottenham Hotspur are always rebuilding, we're never reloading. And what he means by that, and it's bang on. You look at a Liverpool or a Man City or a Filth right now, they've got everything they need. The rebuild's done. All they keep doing is reloading. When the shelves are getting out of stock at the supermarket, they just put more in there so there's more options, there's more variety. We are just completely rebuilding. We are never, ever, ever reloading. We are always, always, always short, aren't we? You look at it, it's always a rebuild.
Look, let's take you back, right? Wembley Stadium, we wiped Liverpool off the pitch. Yeah? What was it? I can't remember. 4-0?
4-1.
4-1. Sorry, yeah. At Wembley. We were class above them. We were class above them. Look how we have trod water or gone backwards, and look what's happened to Liverpool. Look at Arsenal. Years of St. Tottenham Day, then suddenly it stopped. And we were here and Arsenal were down here, right? But we trod water. We have not progressed. We've regressed or stayed the same, okay? We've become complacent. We've been happy to be that team that can just stay fourth and get Champions League football, right? Well, had we had the ambition when we were at that stage to get still better, then we would not be in the position we're in now. I truly believe that. And, this window, am I happy with Bergvall? Yes, I think he's a fantastic player. Archie Gray was my number one signing, apart from Geerstruder and Hincapié. And, I've got to be happy with them. But, I can't look at that squad and think to myself, world beaters at this present moment. And, when I hear people saying, well, Ange hasn't had his players, these are his players. Yeah. Reguilon, whatever you think of Serge Reguilon, right? Okay, he's played at Man United, he's played at Atletico Madrid, he's played at Real Madrid. Okay, he's good enough to be Tottenham's backup, but he would rather him get out of the club than have a backup, and he would rather have the bookkeeper, the book club, the guy who runs the book club, because that's why he's still there running the book club, educating the players.
Just got what you meant. Okay. Yeah.
Ben the book club Davis, right? He runs a book club. I mean, they've done a few videos on it, I think he gave Basuma a book on ballooning, and he took it the wrong way. Look, I think we all know what the situation is. We know that our backup keeper is not good enough. We know we've got a backup left back. Yes, Spence can play at left back. He played it at Genoa, but that's not his position. So what Ange should have been saying is I would rather not buy the player. If you spent 1 year trying to find a left back, I'm sorry, right? There are enough left backs that you could sit down and scrap down on a piece of paper if I gave you 5 minutes to go and find a quality left-sided player, whether it be a left centre back or a left back, to come to this club. I'm sure most of us could name 2 or 3 that we could think of off the bat. My personal one was Hincapié, Leverkusen, who can play left back and left centre back. If you're ambitious and you're a top club, that's who you go and sign. You don't say, we didn't find the one and I won't be rushed. I'm willing to wait another 3 windows or 2 windows or another 1 window. 2 windows, no backup left back. Sorry.
Well, there's still going to be more. I will say I saw Sean's question, and we're going to start doing questions now.
Yeah.
About me going back on Chris Cowling. Like he said, I will be going back on. I'm waiting to hear from him. It will have to be this week or the week after, because the day after the North London derby, I go in for my surgery and I'll be offline for a week or 2. So, He said in the first week after the window, so hopefully it'll be this week. Right, let's get through the questions, and I can't see any other questions coming through now, so we'll deal with these ones. We've got Jonny, you can go back to bed, I can go back to bed. World is good again. So first one from Matty. Why don't we play with one inverted fullback like City do? Example, Porro inverted and Udogie filling in to make a back three. It would make us solid defensively. We would just concede too much now. Or Romero as a 6.
He's never going to play Romero as a 6,
No.
even if you wanted it. Listen, the truth of the matter is, often you see Romero stepping into that role as a 6 when he moves forward to fill in the gaps. So whilst he doesn't technically play as a 6, often you find him as a 6 when he has to step in to fill in the blanks when they all rush forward. I totally agree. This is what I'm saying about tweaking tactics. Why does, if Porro goes forward, cannot Destiny fill in to make the 3 to give us more balance? I don't think there's any balance here between defence and attack. It's all attack. And like I said before earlier, I hear Ange talking about his missed chances and we should have scored and we should have done this, we should have done that. And there's not enough conversation ever in these post-match games about the defensive frailties. When questioned about all the defensive set-piece goals, he doesn't want to talk about it. Why do you not want to talk about it? Because that's why we're losing games. And I think that is another option. If you're not going to have 3 at the back, that is an option. So I agree.
It's what Jose did with Serge Aurier,
Correct.
wasn't it? It's exactly what we did. Destiny's been concerning me as well, but that's another show, another day, another time. The Needs. I don't like Ange, but yesterday we can't blame him. I just feel like we are not in 100%. The players are not 100% into his methodology and aren't fully on it. Do you feel the same?
Well, I think, listen, what have they been doing all summer? And listen, in fairness to Ange, right? I think this tour was another farce, ill thought out tour where we said, I said numerous times before the season started, how can you do this when you're going to have no Vicario, you're going to have no Mickey van der Ven, Dragusin's coming back from the World Cup, and so you're going to go to Asia and you're going to play, and we'll play Archie Gray. Fantastic. Look how great Archie Gray is at centre-back. Look how great this one is. Skip is at centre-back. Well, Skip's gone. Archie Gray's not to be seen, right? We've had no practice. Is it any wonder that they look disjointed? So are we going to come into form? Look, he's got time now. No, he hasn't. Oh, we got time to work on it? No, because what's going to happen is Romero, Bentancur and the likes are all going to be flying off to South America, the other side of the world, and they're going to be coming back on a Thursday night, knackered with jet lag, just like I've got right now, and they'll be expected to come in and play against the Arsenal. So don't be surprised if Romero takes out, Saka or someone and sees red. But no, he's not going to get time. I don't know how many players he's going to be left with in the next 2 weeks. Not many, I would suggest. So basically, it's a week's holiday for most of them. Because how can you work on team techniques and bonding and understanding formations and play when they're never, they're not together? He certainly didn't do that pre-season, and I feel it's showing.
Listen, there's nothing more I can actually add to that one. So we'll go on to the next question, which is from Phil P, which is, have the Gallagher brothers really replaced Levy as the best at charging fans through the nose because they know people will pay because they are fans?
Don't look back in anger, Phil. Honestly, mate.
Mate, it's going nuts. I've seen how mad it's going back home. Some of my friends here who live here, they've got tickets to go to the one in Dublin. And they're delighted for obvious reasons. Shawnee, did Ange really want these kids, though as he still starts the players from last season?
No. What do you think? Listen, Sean, right? What do you think the rant was about? against Man City? You think that rant was about the fans wanting Man City to win? No, that was about, if you heard what he said, I have been made aware this week about things on and off this pitch that have made me alarmed. And the point was, he turned around after the Everton game and he said that none of the kids are good enough. Okay, he said it. Not me, this is not my perception of what he said. He said that none of the kids are ready, none of the kids are good enough, right? He also said a couple of games later, he doesn't have any game changers in his team. I mean, what is that? I mean, why would you actually even say that? There's no game changers in a team. So when you saw pre-season and you saw all these kids coming, and I was getting messages from people, because I go and see the kids with Billy and others, and we thought that a couple of them should make the squad, right? Not all of them, but a couple of them. And I said, how many of them truly will be in that squad come the start? No, they're definitely going to be there. None of them are there. Divine is only there because his Birmingham deal fell through at the last minute. Yeah. And Mikey Moore and the rest are still lingering in the under-21s. So my answer to that is no, those kids will only be there if he has to, right? If they have to be there. Probably in Europa League, I would say, or the Carabao Cup. Maybe see a couple starting on the bench against Coventry. Let's hope he's learnt by his mistake of Fulham last year by making 9 changes. That's right, 9 changes. I've never seen any manager make 9 changes for a team and expect to win it.
There you go. I'll deal with the last one. This is the last one. What was the point of buying Bergvall and Gray? If they're not ready to start, we should have. We bought Gray for 30-40 million. All I will say is, Eddie's, as always, there's always next year. There's always the year after that. There's always the year after that. Listen, I'm a huge fan of Archie Gray. I think Bergvall's going to be amazing. But I say it time and time again. If you're going to buy lumps of coal that have the potential to turn into diamonds, you need a couple of diamonds around them to show them the way and help them build. We pin all our hopes. It's always the bridesmaid, never the bride with Tottenham. It's always the way, and it's always going to be the way until things change, and that comes from the very, very top. Right, we're going to end it there.
Can I just add to that, Ed? When you're asking yourself this question, just think of Annie, the song Annie, and the song Tomorrow, right? Because that is tomorrow. That is Tottenham. Tomorrow. Yeah, you know the song. That's Spurs.
There you go. And Jonny, where can people find you? Welcome back. Where can people find you?
In my bed in about 15 minutes, probably. But you can find me here, Jonny X, Jonny H3232, and on Insta and TikTok, it's Let's Talk Tottenham 1882. I've got my TikTok and my Instagram page where I've got videos, longer videos that you can't put on TikTok. You can't put on X. So my brain's fried at the moment. It's been good to be back, Brian.
It's always good to be back, mate.
I'm really looking forward to the Arsenal game, mate. I can't tell you. I'm beside myself, chomping at the bit, looking forward to that one.
Well, we should, mate. Listen, we shall see what happens. We will be back for Ange management after the Arsenal performance. I'm just going to say right now, performance. I'm sure I'll get you on an evening brews in between that, 1 or 2. Yeah. Jonny would definitely do that. But guys, enjoy whatever you're doing today. I know it's a Monday for you, or it's Monday for me as well, but it's a bank holiday here in Toronto. So all I will say is have a great day. We will be back with evening brews later on today. It may be pre-recorded, depending on what happens, because I've got things to do today. But all I will say is like, comment, share, subscribe, and as always, Levy out.
Come on, you Spurs.
Tottenham.